Hello everyone, this is Chandra Kala from Vailtech Multitech Dr. Rangarajan Dr. Shakuntala Engineering College, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Today we are going to discuss about the topic Introduction to Big Data Analytics. Now we discuss about what is big data. Let's we discuss about the big data. First of all, what is big data? The big data is nothing about the large amount of data that are mainly used to solve the complex problems. It means the massive amount of information to uncover hidden trends, patterns, and the relationships that are mainly used to analyze the methods. We have to extract the information from the business insights. We have to bulk of data set that can be analyzed and then process it. So these data sets are like both the structured data set or unstructured data set. The structured means you have to organize the data, and then unstructured is unorganized the data. So what are the steps to collect the data? First steps to analyze the big data. The first step you have to collect the data. You have to collect the data from the various resources like social media, web traffic, trend sensors, and then customer reviews. And then after collecting the data, to need to clean the data. Need clean to data, any duplicate data is available or any redundant data is there, to remove it. That is the process of the cleaning the data. After clean the data, need to analyzing it. So some of the tools that are used to analyze the data. Next, we discuss about the evolutions of big data. First of all, what is big data? Already discussed in the previous slide. So, what is big data? That is the large amount of data that are mainly used to analyze it and process it. So, in the sense, the evolutions of big data in the early days of computing are to store the large amount of data in the mainframe computers that are mainly used for the business and scientific applications. That is, the amount of data are stored and then analyzed within the limited amount of data only analyzed for processing to solve the problems in the business application sites. Then afterwards, you have to introduce some data warehousing in the year 1980s and then 1990s. The data warehousing was to mainly used to store and analyze the large amount of data. It is mainly used in organizations for the purpose of storing and analyze the data from the various resources. So afterwards, the internet is growing. Then in the year of 1990s, the rise of the internet, the 1990s, after that amount of data is being generated and then collected, it will be grow rapidly. The data was more diverse and unstructured data that can be collected and then analyzed it by using some traditional techniques. Afterwards, the emergence of big data. The big data was introduced in the year 2000s. The term big data, which means a large or massive amount of data that will be generated and various data that can be collected from the various resources. Whether the data should be structured or unstructured data. Various technologies that can be used to analyze the data. The technologies such as the various tools like Hadoop and NoSQL database were developed to handle the large amount of volume of data and the variety of data. After that had to grow in the big data, in the recent years, the amount of which means a large, massive amount of data that can be collected, and then it will be grow rapidly. So that whether the data that can be analyzed, whether it should be structured data or unstructured data. So many technologies that can be analyze the data, such as the cloud computing and the streaming the data that have been developed to handle the large amount of data. Afterwards, had to introduce in the artificial intelligence and machine learning. This also mainly used to analyze and process the data. Then the big data is mainly used to train the machine learning models and the AI. So mainly allows to organizations to gain the insight from the various resources, which means the large amount of data that can be processed data. After introducing AI and ML, the IoT and 5G were introduced. By using the IoT and 5G, it will be the data will be more distributed and it will be used in the mobile applications. You have to create new challenges and then face the many challenges and then it provides the many opportunities for the big data processing and analysis. After introducing IoT and 5G, the blockchain and big data that can be the technology that can be used for more secure data purpose. That is the main purpose of using this. So we had to collect the more number of data. That data should be more secured one. Had to provide the customers or users will be more secured one. That is the blockchain and the big data's main purpose of using it. So next we discuss about how does the big data analytics works. So we had to analyze the various amount of data by using the powerful tool like the Hadoop, and then many tools are available. The Spark, the Spark, and then Hadoop technology. That is, many tools are used to analyze and to process it. So main thing is it just helps to find the large amount of data sets and then provide the complex number of data sets that can be processed and analyzed. It. The first step already we discussed in the previous one. So first we need to collect the data from the various resources. After collecting the data, we need to clean it. So what is the main purpose of cleaning the data? The any redundant data is there, you have to cleaning it. So that is called as the data pre-processing. So the next step is so how the big data analytics using in the industries, what are the main purpose of using this best practices, what are the methods that can be used to apply in the many organizations. So what are the best practices of using the big data? So first thing is you have to collect the more number of data. The data should be high quality of data. After need to analyze the data, you have to label it. It's like, for example, the student data, you have to relevant information based on the students that will be labeled it. So after that, you have to specify some locations that can be stored and analyze it. So the ideal story and the locations are utilized. So various number of data that can be stored in the cloud. So many techniques that helps to generate the accurate insights. So afterwards, you need to implement the suitable data for the security measures. So utilize the more number of data securities for measurement to avoid the identity theft, loss of trade. So after that, you have to need to ensure the implementations of strict data product. So guideline for protect the sensitive data or information. So the next one is the big data. Is a very important concept of the big data. Need to study about characteristics of big data. So there are main thing is you have to say about the 5 V's of big data. First of all, what is big data? Already everyone know about that. What is big data? That is a large amount of data that can be stored and processed from the various insights to provide the more number of security purpose. So that is called as the big data. So what are the main characteristics of big data? Yes, there are 5 V's. You have to represent in the way the 5 V's of the big data. One is volume, veracity, variety, and then variety and value and velocity. So data that can be flowed to exceed the 150 exabytes, terabytes per day before the replications need to follow the 5 V's of big data's characteristics. I have to discuss one by one. So first thing is big data analytics, the process. First variety of data, veracity of data, values, it will be represented in the diagrams. So what is variety, what is veracity, value, we have to discuss one by one. The first one is variety, which means whether the data should be structure format, semi-structure, unstructured or multi-factor. So it will be represented in the variety. Then after that veracity. So veracity means the uncertainty. We have to specify the speed of the data, that is robustness. So truth, worthiness, then accountability. After that value, whether the data should be statistical data or hypothetical or correlations, they had predictions. Then volume, already know that how amount of data that can be stored. So it will be stored in the high dimensional data, terabytes, transactions, tables, and then files. It will be represented the volume. Then velocity. So what do you mean by velocity? So provide the real-time applications, the online acquisition, then sustainability, then process. It will be represented in the diagram. Next we discuss about the The same thing, the characteristics of big data, it also represented in the veracity volume in the diagrams. So we had to discuss one by one individually. So first one is volume. So what is the meaning of the volume? We have to store the amount of storage bubbles that will be stored in the data. It will be represented in the big data. First characteristics is volume. So for example, in this diagram, in the year 2011, we had to gradually increase the data. Day by day, the large amount of data that can be stored in that. So the volume can be represented in the diagram line chart. For example, the Facebook can generate the approximate data as billion messages, the 4.5 billion times that the like button, share button, and then which means like, share, and subscriptions, which means a following. So more number of data that can be stored. So day by day it will be increased. So after that, any new posts are uploaded in each and every day, the volume of data is large. It will be increased in the day by day. So we have to need to handle the large amount of data. So volume is very important characteristics of the big data. So next we discuss about the variety. So what is variety? Whether the data should be structured, unstructured, or quasi-structures and semi-structured data. So it will be represented in the diagram. So what is structure? Next one is veracity. So what do you mean by veracity in the sense that how much amount of data should be reliable? So there are many ways to filter the data under translation here. So veracity in the sense you have to process of many data for analyzing it. It will be handled and manage the data efficiently. The big data is mainly used in the business development. The main example is veracity. The Facebook you have to post with the hashtags. So the next characteristics of big data is value. So what is the value of big data? Says nothing about the data that can be processed and stored. So many values of data can be represented in the collections, publications, and data value chain and update impact. So it will be represented in this diagram. So what is the value? Big data. So the big data values first need to collect the data. The data should be structured or unstructured, and the value of data provide the identity and collecting the process. It will be represented in the diagrams. So it is not the data, you have to process it and store data. So valuable and reliable data only that can be stored for processing and analyzing in it. So it will be represented in the data value chain. Each and every day the data should be increased, right? So the next one is, so the next characteristics of big data is velocity. The velocity is plays on the important role in the role compared to other characteristics. So it will be create a speed by which the data is created in the real-time applications. It will be contains a linking of the incoming large data sets to provide the speeds and the rate of changes and activity burst. The main objectives of using this big data, the characteristics of velocity, it is to provide the demanding of the data rapidly. So it deals with the speed and the data can be flow from the various sources like the applications log, business processes, networks, and social media sites, sensors, mobile devices. So it will be represented in the diagrams. The mainframe computers, client or server, that by using the internet, it will be represented in the social media cloud. Each and every second, the data speed will be increased. So it can be represented in the diagrams. So next to main of using the big data, we need to validating. So how to validate the big data? So what are the basic steps to validate the big data analysis process? You have to ensure the accuracy and the integrity of data. So it is important for business applications that are used to the large amount of data analyzed in the process to make a better decisions. So it helps to improve the decision making problems. So the decision making. So we have to validate the data to provide more reliable and then informed decisions. Helps to business to increase the efficiency, revenue, and then profits. So after that, need to validating the reduced risk The data helps to prevent the data entry of invalid or malicious data. So we have to reduce the risk of the data breaches and then leaks. After that, save time and money. So data validate and validate the data. Its main thing is you have to reduce the time and then money. So need of manual data cleaning can save the business time. So the next step is to ensure the data quality. So what is the data quality, which means in the sense you have to validate the data mainly helps to ensure the data should be consistent and provide the accurate data, complete and fit for its intended use. The after one is some of the examples of data validation techniques. First need to set the rules. For example, you have to set the required rule to ensure the field is always it should be present, and then it contains rules to ensure strict value options. Some of the tools that can be need to validate the data like query search and big diffy that can be used to compare the data from the various data stores. So the next we discuss about the promotion of the value of big data. So what are the what are the steps to improve? That is, you have to promote your value of the big data as a valuable resources for the business applications. Help them to improve the better decision making and increase the customer reviews, and then customer based on the customer experience need to make a better decisions and then operational efficiency. So here the some of the ways that the big data that can be used to promote a value. So first thing is improve the decision making. It helps the business make the data driven decisions by providing various insights on the risk and patterns and trends. The another one is a better customer experience. It helps the business applications to understand their customers' feedbacks and then personalize their experiences. Then it provide the more efficient operations, identify ways to reduce the cost and save the time. So the many business applications can use the big data to analyze their energy use and then become more efficient. The another one is advantages of using the big data to improve the risk management. It helps the business evaluate the risk by identifying and monitoring the potential data. So the positive social impact of that can be used to identify the problems that can be solved in the business. Many applications such as the healthcare and tracking the poverty. So next we discuss about characteristics of big data applications. So it is mainly suitable to addressing or solving the business problems that can be mainly used in the large business applications that are subject to one or more the following criteria. First one is data throttling. So data throttling, which means you have to many challenges faced on the existing solutions, but the traditional hardware, the performance of the solution is throttled. The best example of using the users that can be used the internet within the limit, it will be intimated to the ISP. Then after that, ISP will provide which data, how many data that can be used. It will those informations provided to the users. That is called as a data throttling. So then next one is which means the cutoff limitations, informations and everything will be provided to the user. That is called as a data throttling. Then computations restrictions throttling, which means the speed of the data. The users can using the internet within the limit to exceed the limit. It will provide the informations to the user. That is called as a throttling. The speed automatically reduced. So that is called as a computation restricted throttling. Then large data volumes is one of the best applications of big data. So one of the characteristics of big data, the analytical applications combines the multitude of existing large data set and data streams, the high rate of data create and the delivery of data to the customers. So the next one is significant data variety. So different sources, we have to collect the data from the various sources already discussed, whether the data should be structured and content format, and of the data should be unstructured. The data variety, you have to need to significance the various data variety. Then benefits from the data parallelizations, you have to need to reduce the data dependencies and applications runtime that can be mainly used to. Let's see the big data use cases. The big data techniques that can be used to the leverage the business benefits. It will provide the more number of benefits used, and the many organizations using analyze the data of the big data, we increasing the value of one organization the day by day. The big data provide the large beneficials in the many applications in the industries that can be using of the big data. So there are the common categories. The big data use cases can derived from it is a open source software. So it can be derived from the Apache software foundations. It will be powered by the Hadoop website. So after that, using the big data in the many applications like the business intelligence, need to searching any data for getting any information, scoring and reporting. It includes the many applications, many implementations of searching the data. The indexing it automatically speed up the aggregations for report to the users for report generations and trend analysis, searching optimization techniques and general information retrieval. So after that, improve the performance of the data management operations with the majority of focusing the large log storage purpose. The data storage largely it followed by the sorting, running join extractions or transformations. That is the ETL. ETL stands for extract, transform, and loading the data for processing and analyzing it for the better decision making that will be used in the many business applications. The main other type of data conversations, the any duplicate analysis and any eliminations of data, it will be automatically used in the big data use cases. It automatically used in the business applications. Any redundant data or duplicate data should be analyzed in that. So non-database mainly used in the NoSQL databases applications. It is the main domain of the image processing, text processing, and the preparations for publishing, genome sequencing, protein sequencing, and structure predictions, and then web crawling and monitoring workflow processes. So after that, the data mining applications, the data mining and analytical applications, it includes the social network analysis field, image recognitions and profile matching, and other type of text analytics, web mining, machine learning algorithms, machine learning and artificial intelligence. You need to extract the information and provide the recommendations analysis and optimization, and also provide the behavior analysis. So next we discuss about the perception. What are the perceptions of using the big data and quantifications of values? There are main two features of using the big data. So one is organizational fitness, another one is the suitability of the business challenges. So in the business applications, the main purpose of using this big data is increasing the revenues, and the cost will be lowering the cost, increasing the productivity, and also the reduce the risk. So increasing revenue is the best examples using the recommendations engine. It will be provide the data to increase the customer sales by adding the more items into the market basket. So lowering cost is lowering cost is the best examples of using the big data platform. It will be built in the commodity hardware for ETL, extra transformations and loading the data so to reduce and eliminate the need for more information provided to the specialized service is used for data staging, and then reduce the data storage and footprint and reduce the operating cost. So increasing another one perception to increasing the productivity, the speed for the pattern analysis, it will be automatically increase the projections, and then fraud analysis helps to identify so more instances of suspicious behavior of using the data, so it will be reduced. So faster speed, the mainly increased the productivity of the increased productivity. Then afterwards, reducing the risk. So using the big data platform or collecting the many thousands of streams, so automated sensor can provide the full visible into the current state of the power grid. So these are the perceptions of using the big data and the quantifications of values. So the next one is understanding of big data storage for. So there are two approaches, considerations for the big data. Some algorithms that are used to storage for the big data, and the other applications, the numerous iterative exchange of data between the different computing node. Then storage considerations, which means a massive amount of data such as need to specialized storage systems. So I will have to accommodate the big data applications. So main focused on there are three features the scalability, extensibility, and then fault tolerance. Scalable, which means need to extend the data volume of, you have to increase the size of the data. Extensibility in the sense how the data is flexible in the storage systems architecture that could be allow the system to be grown without the constraints or artificial limits. The fault tolerance is capable of to recover from internet failures, any occurrences, any fault tolerance occur, it will be removed. It will be intimated to the users. So the next one is integratability, how the storage environment that can be integrated in the production environment. Then accessibility within the limitations or constraints to provide the simultaneous access to the expand the user community without compromise the performance of the users. So the high speed I/O capacity. So I/O channels can satisfy the demand times requirements for observe, storing and sharing the large data volumes. So all the big data applications that perform and their scalability through deployment and the collections of large amount of storage pumps and computing the. Let's see the high performance architectures. So the high performance architecture is a platform and environment designed and purpose-built to process the large amount of data and to solve the complex problems in a very high speed. So it includes the high performance computing and networking and high performance storage. It provides some characteristics. So one is the parallel processing. So the parallel processing means in the sense the clusters of high power processors operating under similar workload that can be spread across the multiple computing nodes. So the after one characteristics is built and optimized for high performance. So the high performance architecture are designed for the high speed and high throughput and low latency to achieve the maximize throughput. So it can be fine-tuned and made trade-off to extract the highest possible performance across the architecture and to ensure the data it will be computed and stored in the various networking platforms. It will be balanced the throughput. So next one is dynamic architecture. Dynamic in the sense you need to change at the time. So the data that can be stored in the particular places, it will be unused data, it will be automatically removed. So in the sense the compute, store and the large networking that can grow and shrink to match the workflow scale demands. So the next one is the important topic in the big data, the architecture of Hadoop. The main goal of designing the Hadoop is to develop for the inexpensive, reliable and scalable framework that can be stored and analyze the data for the rising of the big data. So the Apache Hadoop, it is an open source software. We need to download it from the Apache Software Foundations. The main purpose of using this for storing and processing and analyzing the large amount of data for making the better decisions in the organization. So it follows the master slave node and master to slave architectures. So master node and then slave node is responsible for storing the actual data and perform the computations or processing in it. So the slave node stores the actual business data, just like a metadata is a master node. So the slave node stores the small amount of data so the master node is a metadata, so all the informations are stored in it. So the Hadoop architecture comprises the three layers. One is storage layer, Hadoop distributed file systems, then resource management layer, yet another resource node, then processing layer is MapReduce. There are three important things is used in the Hadoop architecture. There are three main layers: storage, resource, and then processing layers. Next one is we need to explain the each and every layers and explained in the detail. So just Hadoop components, Hadoop HDFS in the sense Hadoop distributed file systems, yarn yet another resource node. Then Hadoop MapReduce. So the HDFS is a storage layer. Yarn is a resource management layer. Hadoop reduce, MapReduce is used in the applications layer. So this is the architecture of Hadoop, the master node and then slave node. So each and every node, slave node, it's consists of the map reduce and node managers and data nodes. The master node is the metadata, so all the informations that can be stored in it. So it is act as the resource managers. So this is an architecture of Hadoop distributed file systems. So on this many nodes are there. It will be separated in the master node and then slave node. So master node in the sense the metadata, all the information in the net. So slave node is a single data, single information that can be represented in the each and every block. So it will be represented in the HDFS architecture. So it will explain in detail. So what is Hadoop HDFS? Hadoop distributed file systems. It is a storage layer for Hadoop. So the block size consists of 128 megabyte. It will be default 128 megabyte. So it also follows the master slave architectures. It comprises the two domains. One is name node, the another one is data node. The name node is the master domain that is run on the master node. The data node that run on the slave node. So the next one is map reduce. So the map reduce is a resource resource managers act as a managers. So each and every input that can be splitted in the each and every block. So input block split zeros 1 and 2. The output STFS it will be reduced it. The STFS replications and then these are the inner process. First thing is here to reduce the data and then compress and then shuffling the data. Final output it would be look like it. So then we have to explain the map reduce in detail. So it is a data processing layer of Hadoop. So we need to write the many applications that process the large amount of data in the sense the terabyte to petabyte in the range. So the map reduce framework work on the keys and values pairs. So each and every data that can be identified by using the keys and then values. Extract all the informations based on the keys and I need to by using the keys and values. So the map reducer, the main job of the map reducer is the unit of work the client wants to perform, and it will be reduced. It mainly consists of the input data, map reduce program, and the configuration informations. So then Hadoop Yarn schedules the task and run on the node in the clusters. So any one of the node is failure or any server problem is occur, so another one node inform to the another node, it will be automatically rectify it. So user define the map functions and this map functions and output from the reduce functions by extract by using by analyzing the keys and value pair. So main functions of the map task is to load, parse, filter, and transform. Already know about the ETL, extract, transform, and loading. The main concept also applied in it. So the output main task of the output is the input to reduce the task. So the reduce task then perform to grouping and aggregations are map the data, so it will be reduced. See now I explain the Hadoop map reduce problems. First, the given input data that can be split in the Hadoop distributed file systems. These data that can be identified by using the keys and value pairs. Afterwards, it will be mapped by next one is the key one value. It will be separated key one value one. After mapping, these data can be shuffled and sorting by aggregating the values by using the keys and values. So the final input data that can be reduced and it will be produced by applying using the final key and then final value, the given input data that will be reduced. So this is the The following steps are used in the MapReduce programming model. The first, the given input data that can be splitted, that is called as the chunks. So each and every chunks will be the input of the single map. After splitting the data, it will have the size between 16 MB to 64 bit. So the each and every data input data it will be followed from the first step. Each and every data that can be identified by using the keys and values. After split the data, it will be mapping on it. So yeah, each and every node is assigned by using the map functions. It will automatically take the input value, the set of key value, key 2, and then value 2 pairs. So after map data, it will be shuffled by using the output of the mapping functions is being grouped or aggregated by identifying the keys and values. Then shuffle the data, it will be reduced and it will provide, it is like as the output data, the each and every output group of data by aggregate the values or shuffle base output. The final output will be in the form from the shape of list K3, which means the keys and values 3. So the next one is explained and just one example of overall map reduce word count process. So the given input is a deer, beer, river. So each and the group of data that can be splitted in the first step, it's like K1 and then V1 by identify the keys and values, key K1 and then V1. After splitting the data, it will be mapped by applying the list, the K2 and then V2. The similar type of data that can be segregated after the data shuffled on it. Then reducing the given data after shuffle, it will be reduced. The final output data is look at similar type of data that will be reduced on it. So this is the map reduce programming model. So in this unit, I need to achieve the sustainable development goal. So here few of the SDG goals that can be achieved on it. So first one is SDG 1, the no poverty. For example, you have to analyze the large amount of data by applying the big data analytics process. So to track the poverty trends and identify the vulnerable populations, and it will be easily measure the effectiveness of the poverty by applying the SDG1 goal. It will be reached on it by applying the big data analysis process on it. So the various economic activity by using the satellite imagery and mobile data. After that, to achieve the SDG goal 2, so zero hunger, for example, need to analyze using the IoT and analysis of data by optimizing techniques for forming the practices that predict the food shortages. So already explained the big data analyst and analytic process also achieve the goal SDG 2. Then SDG 3 is also the SDG3 goal is good health and well-being also achieved on it by analyze the big data. So it is easily predict the disease outbreaks using the social media and healthcare data from the data sets. Another one is achieve the goal SDG goal 4 to provide the quality education. You need to tracking the school attendance rates and design the interventions to reduce the dropout. Then SDG goal 6 is clean water and sanitation. So early detections of water contaminations in the urban areas. You need to analyze the water consumption patterns by and monitoring the water quality using the real-time data from the sensors. So after achieve the goal is SDG 7, affordable and clean energies. You need to monitoring the energy grid of efficiency and sustainability by analyzing the data. It is easily helps to optimize the energy production and consumptions and supports the transitions to renewable energy sources. The next is the goal is 11, the sustainable cities and communities. So we need to predict the data and the mitigations air pollutions using the real-time sensoring data. So also the SDG 11 is also attained on using the big data, and then SDG 13, the climate actions. We need to easily analyze the weather report by analyzing the big data concept that can be used for climate modeling and easily track the carbon emissions and supporting climate mitigation strategy by analyze the various data sets. So another SDG goal 14, the life below water. So the satellite imagery to monitor the illegal fishing and plastic waste accumulations by using the big data analysis to monitor marine biodiversity. It will be easily tracking the fishing activities and detect the ocean pollution. So another one SDG code is 15. It's life on land. Using the artificial intelligence and machine learning, simulate some models to analyze the drone data for forest healthcare monitoring. And then SDG goal 16 also achieved using the analyzing the big data, peace, justice, and a strong institution. So we had to analyze the big data, supports the transparency, fraud detections, and tracking crime trends. So by analyzing social media and economic data to detect the corruptions and promote the governance. Thank you.